I'd like to introduce Dr. John McIntyre. He is the faculty advisor for AIESEC at Georgia Tech. He's also been a strong supporter of AIESEC since 1987. He's the head of international business programs at Georgia Tech and the head of CIBER, which stands for Center of International Business, Education, and Research.
Thank you, Tiffany, and really heartfelt congratulations. Now, as you moved to New York in a few days, so you've had all the resettlement issues. You're facing all of them yourself right now. And, we want to wish you luck, and we hope you come to visit us often. My task is fairly simple here. It's to introduce our distinguished speakers. We will speak about how do you develop international entrepreneurs? How do you become aware of the international perspective as you study engineering, as you study business, as you study whatever it is you study in your college career? And obviously AIESEC is designed to maximize and optimize the opportunity afforded our students, both ways, really, from overseas and going stateside to overseas destination. It's my pleasure to introduce Klaus, who is one of our distinguished alumnus at Georgia Tech. And Chris, and many of you know Chris Klaus because he's a distinguished member of the business and engineering community. If you want to sit down, Chris. He was Chief Executive Officer, and he is rather Chief Executive Officer and founder of Caneva, from the word canvas in Latin. It's a 3D online world and community organizations. It's focused on, he has an overall vision of what the 3D online world will look like. But Chris is best known really to us in the Atlanta community for having founded and served as the Chief Security Advisor to Internet Security System, ISS, a company created in 1994. It's not that long ago, but I guess, as I say, what was it? 7 student generations ago. And how many generations in internet terms? 160. So anyhow, he's the founder of that company, which was sold to IBM in 2006. He's of course a former student graduate at Georgia Tech, and he very generously and presciently decided to share some of his innovation by making a donation, a substantial donation, to Georgia Tech in 1999 for the construction of a new building that many of us know, the Klaus Advanced Computing Building, representing the largest single personal donation from anyone of his generation and his graduating class. The building opened in 2006 and is largely designed, and it does that in fact, to inspire students and also in the process give back to the community and accelerate future technological innovation, making a very positive direct impact to the digital lifestyle of a global online community.
Wanted to share some stories. Param asked me to come down and talk a little bit about how I started internet security systems, and it doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but you know, back in 1992 I was down at Georgia Tech and in my dorm room I started looking at computer security issues, and always loved challenges like, you know, taking things apart. And when I started looking at computer security, there was really only 2 books on computer security at the time, and they both said change your password. And I knew that the hackers, I was kind of hearing about hackers, and you know, this is really before most people knew about the internet, but a lot of the hackers early on were getting into all these government systems, and I knew there was some way that they're doing it. And so I actually, as a part-time project, research project while I was at Tech, started developing some software that would, if you understand how hackers work, understanding what doors and windows they were looking at and crawling through to get into people's or companies' computers, developed some software that would scan the network looking for vulnerabilities and come back with a long report of here's all the different ways hackers could break in. And I'd actually released the software for free and got a ton of response from organizations, mostly universities, because that's in government agencies at the time, because that was in 92, 93 timeframe. That was really what was on the internet at that time. And I was sitting in math class based on this feedback going, I wonder if I charge these companies $1 per vulnerability, maybe there's an opportunity here. So I actually started working on a commercial version of the product in my dorm room, and 6 months later announced a commercial version of it, and had my first customer turned out to be an Italian research center that sent me a check for $1,000, and I was like, woohoo! You know, being a college student, you know, I understood how far, you know, that would go, because you're living on beer money and Roman noodle money at the time. So definitely encouraged me to. I was actually never really finished tech, because I was like, noticed as I spent more time working on this, unfortunately your grades do an inversion in time as you pick on one of these projects. So I decided to do one thing. I couldn't do both. I want to do one thing right or do it really well. And from there, fortunately, one of the reasons I came up to Atlanta was my grandmother. And so she lived up here, and asked her if I could use her spare guest bedroom to set up ISS's official headquarters, and you know, she agreed, so I was off to a good start. But what I wanted to do was just share 5 rules or lessons that I thought would be appropriate to share, and how, you know, what were things that made ISS or Internet Security Systems really stand out. And as you're looking to grow businesses and grow organizations, you know, some of the things that we learned, or that I've learned. One of the first things was, you know, rule number 1 was really find something you're passionate about, and start small and be frugal. You know, with ISS, we started small with that $1,000 check, and really spent probably over a year developing the solution, really day and night, and you know, during the day I was kind of the support, sales person, and at night I was the coder. So it was interesting, because I'd have companies. The nice thing is with the internet, they have that thing, nobody knows you're a dog, but no one knows you're a one-man company. So like AT&T would call up and say, like, how big is your company? And I said, well, we have customers all over the world. And so, you know, it sounded good, and they said, all right, and wrote me a check. So you know, one of the big things is when you're getting a startup going, you want to really think small. How do you keep focus in terms of one of the big advantages of being a small company is you can take actions very fast. You can make decisions. You don't have to ask a lot of people. And so we were able to move really quickly and have a sense of urgency to move fast. And I would say the amount of time, most people think, oh, starting a startup is a great thing. You know, you get to be your own boss. But if you're going to build a startup, you're going to spend a lot of time there, and usually you don't pay yourself very well, and so you're probably a horrible boss to yourself. And you know, for the first year, you know, mostly I was focused on building the value of the company. So I paid myself, like, the first year $10,000, and that covered food and so on. So I don't think people who get into starting a business, if you're there to make money, I think long term that's a side effect, but in many cases you want to create the value first, and money will come second. And you should be passionate about it, because you definitely will. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, you're probably not going to want to stay at a $10,000 a year job. Within that, I would also say one of the key things that made ISS successful was the staying frugal as well. We just always focused on not investing in furniture. Like the first couple of years, we used the Home Depot cardboard tables and lots of just whatever was cheapest, and really was about investing in getting the right people and spending money where you're going to get the most value.